So at first we will start with a small introduction of Docs42. So for those of you who don't know Docs42 yet, you will receive a lot of information, and for the ones who are already familiar with it, you will receive some more insight. This will be done by Christian, then I will take over for the live demo. I will show that on the example of a sales quote, we will generate a powerful document that adds value with data from Dynamics CE, SharePoint, and we will also integrate Teams and of course Flow and Power Automate. And at the end, we will leave some time for questions and answers. Please ask them via the chat panel, and then we'll answer them towards the end. Good, that's it from my side from the beginning, and now Christian.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Well, just a short introduction, just 5 minutes into Docs42. Well, Docs42 is a software product. It's for document generation. So what you can do with Docs42 is generate documents automatically. Of course, this makes only sense when you have your data in some system. That's why we have the demo today with Dynamics 365, CRM or customer engagement, and SharePoint, and you can use Docs42 with a lot of other systems as well. As document automation is an important topic in every industry, Docs42 is cross-industry. So you see a few of our reference customer logos down there, and you see that, yeah, they come from every industry. We do have a few more than 300 customers at the moment. We work together with partners and our headquarters in Vienna, Austria. Okay, what are customers actually doing with Docs42? I have one example here. It's ABB. ABB is creating service reports using Docs42. It's a dynamic CRM scenario. These service reports are created for turbochargers. Turbochargers are big machines that are powering ships and construction vehicles and stuff like that. They have a few 100,000 of these big machines deployed worldwide. And service technicians go there to perform services with these machines, take a lot of photos, list a lot of spare parts and so on. And all this data, including the photos and descriptions and so on, goes into this service report, which is created automatically worldwide. Very nice scenario, but Docs42 is of course used in many other scenarios as well. This is just one example to give you some ideas what can be done using Docs42. How does it work? I mean, one of the main USPs is that you can design templates for your automatically generated documents in Microsoft Office. Yes, you're already familiar with Microsoft Office. Of course, you have worked with Excel, PowerPoint, and of course, Microsoft Word. So you all qualify as Docs42 templates designers all out of the box. What you can do with the Docs42 add-ins, you create insert data fields and other controls into these documents. You do that just by a drag and drop, and then you can generate really nice looking documents with a lot of logic, data, images, dynamic charts, tables, hyperlinks, barcodes, text modules, and so on. Conditions, calculations, and a lot more. So this allows for quite complex documents as well. You can read data automatically from a lot of data sources. In our scenario, which will Lisa present in a few minutes, we will use Docs42 online, so Docs42 in the cloud, and we will read data from SharePoint online and Dynamics 365 customer engagement CRM. But of course, you could connect to SQL databases, web services, Excel, all other Microsoft Dynamics products, and even SAP. And you can have as many data sources as you like, so you can mix data. Output formats, Docs42 is capable of creating, of course, PDF documents. That's the most common scenario, but also Office formats. So in case you want to adapt your document afterwards and edit it, so you can just create a Word document. Docs42 can save documents directly to SharePoint, and it integrates with Microsoft Teams. We will have a very nice scenario today presented by Lisa where we work from Teams. And of course, Docs42 is capable of generating mails. You can have a full-blown Docs42 template for generating the mail body, sending it off, for example, for digital signature with DocuSign. And there are a lot of more options you can combine in a very easy way. If you want to use Docs42 in the cloud, that's Docs42 online for you. It's a pure software as a service solution. It's not an expensive one. It starts with 490 euros a month, and you have 100 documents included out of the box. Of course, you can use Docs42 on-prem as well. You have the same functionality on-premise. You can run your Docs42 server at home as you like, but it's really your choosing as you want to do it. Okay, that's the short introduction. Hey, it didn't even take 5 minutes. Now I'm happy to pass over to Lisa. Yeah, and Lisa, please feel free to guide us through a live demo.
Great, thank you, Christian. So much about the theory. Now let's look into the practice of Docs42. And today we will show you a live demo generating a sales quote with data from Dynamics with documents stored in SharePoint, collaborating in Teams, and then of course using the power of Power Automate, what it's called now, or formerly Flow. And in the background, we have the engine of Docs42 Online. So let's switch to our Dynamics system. So here we are in our Dynamics environment. This is classic UI, but of course it also works with modern interface with a modern UI, and you will see that a little bit later during the demo as well. So what is our scenario? We have a sales project here. It's a project for solar panels deluxe. It's a complex project. We are selling solar panels to our customers. So what do we have here in our CRM system? We store the information about the project. We have our products, we have our customers here, but in the end, our project is really complex. We're also doing some service around the implementation. We have some technical teams working on it, and it requires a lot of collaboration. And in the end, it's a project that also requires a lot of documents. So what's a document that adds a lot of value? It's a sales quote that adds value to the customer, that's influencing the customer, of course, in the purchasing decision. So how would you set up a sales quote, a compelling one, with Docs42? In our scenario, our project team, of course, is using our collaboration tools. They're using SharePoint and also Microsoft Teams. And with Docs42, they're even further enhancing their sales project processes. So here we have our Docs42 commands in our CRM system, and one of that here, which we added, is start process. With that command, a new folder is added to SharePoint, and then in the SharePoint folder, the whole project team is able to upload the documents that are necessary for the sales project. So let's have a look at that. Here we are in our SharePoint Online, and here we have our folder for the project. It's with the same quote ID as the CRM, and here we can see that our team has uploaded the documents. As I said, we're also doing service, so there's someone that has uploaded the project plan, the service plan, as an Excel document to SharePoint. Then we have someone for marketing as well, who has uploaded the cover letter and some more information about solar panels deluxe, and some information if there's even enough sunshine hours in field where the customer is placed, so that the customer knows that it really pays off to purchase the solar panels. Then also very important, a connection plan, how to set it up, PowerPoint presentation, upload it to SharePoint, and then a further incentive for marketing that the customer is really purchasing our solar panels. Good. These are all separate documents, and now it's the task of the sales manager, of the salesperson, to set up a compelling document. In reality, this is done in many companies in a manual way. So it's a lot of copy-paste, pasting the documents together. It takes a lot of time. There might be some mistakes, even copy-paste that can happen all the time, and you can't really concentrate on selling. With Docs42, we are doing that in an automatic way, and you can generate a document with all of the information we've seen just by clicking a button here. So here we can generate a PDF quote, and we even have some further options to save it automatically to SharePoint, for example, to generate a draft email, or to send it via email automatically as well. So once we click on here, in the background, the Docs42 server, the Docs42 online server, is generating our document, inserting all the information, and doing what we've asked him to do. So here we have our document returned already, our PDF document, and we can see a sales quote, a very powerful sales quote. So here we have a picture, that's an entity picture. Here we have the customer information taken from Dynamics, also the name. Here we see the first Word document, the cover letter, which I've just shown you, which was uploaded in Microsoft SharePoint. Here we have a QR code that was added dynamically as well. Down here, we can see a dynamic table with all the product information from Dynamics and also some pictures. This was the Excel document for the service, added as well as a table. And down on the last page, we have our PowerPoint included, as well as our further Word document that was added automatically. So this was all done just with one click and still independent from Microsoft Flow, just with the Docs42 online capabilities. Also, what I'm going to show you, what has happened in the meanwhile. Christian also mentioned that you can set up mails, so emails with Docs42. So we created a draft email automatically. And here our email body is dynamic as well. So here it contains like our quote information, it contains the customer name, and it's a very nice looking email body. This was also a Docs42 Word template. It was a Word document that was generated as an email, and in the attachment we have our solar panels document. Great. So this is how our documents look like. In theory, our document is ready, but as I mentioned before, a sales project, complex project, they are usually a team effort. And it's usually more than one person that's deciding. And our sales employee, he has set up this quote, it looks quite good, but he's not completely sure. Maybe they should add maybe a small discount, they really want to get this customer. Maybe they need some more products, because here the panel holder is 15, but the solar panel is just 14. He decides he's just going to ask his boss to help him on the quote and to double check if everything is fine before sending it finally out to the customer. So what does the person do? They go into Teams, they go into their Teams channel, into their sales, and then they just send a message to their boss. In case I would just do that here, I will say, Christian, can you please check the sales quote? Good. And then Christian receives that message, and so he's already in Teams because he saw that message, and now he doesn't really want to change and go back to his Dynamics and open it. So what he does is, okay, he wants to check the sales quote. He goes here to his sales quote tabs, and he can directly from Teams access the sales quote. Here we already have our sales quote generated, because when I was in CRM, I clicked on save the quote to SharePoint. So here we have it saved in here. And then he opens it, looks great, the first page, nice looking and compelling, but then zooming in on the second page, he also sees, okay, there are 15 panel holders, but only 14 solar panels. Let's make it also 15. Because so that we are on the same quantity. Great, that still needs to be edited. So he closes it, and then he goes back to solar panels. Christian even replied, sure, let's go. Great, thank you for your go. And then going back to solar panels, he said, let's go, please adjust the amount of our solar panels. It needs to be 15. So directly in Teams, now you can see it's with the modern UI, changing this one to 15 solar panels, and also adding a small discount so that the customer is really convinced he has to purchase now. And so this is all saved now, and now we're just refreshing it. Once we can see 15 here and 5%. So wouldn't it be great now if we had that sales quote updated automatically, and that we don't need to generate it again? Well, theoretically, we could generate it again also here from Teams by clicking here and then doing the Docs42 commands. But good that there are tools like Power Automate or Microsoft Flow that are doing this automatically for us. So what has happened in the background now is that as soon as I updated here my my amounts, a Power Automate Flow was triggered and regenerated our quote. Let's see if that really worked. And we go into sales quotes and we see perfect. Just now we got a document added, a new one, quote solar panels deluxe. And let's open this one and see if our updates took place as well. So here we have the same document. And if we zoom in, perfect, we have our 15 and the 5% discount. This was all done via Microsoft Flow. And before I show you how that flow is set up, how that looks under the hood, let's say it like that, I also show you that with Docs42 and with Teams, that gives you further possibilities for collaboration. So if, for example, they wanted to add some new data fields to the template, or if they wanted to change the layout or something, this can be done also. The template can also be accessed via Microsoft Teams. And here we have a separate channel for the templates designer. So the ones that have the rights to design the templates, they would just go here and go on CRM sales templates. And now this is also incorporated. So this is also connected to our SharePoint Online. And you can open your Docs42 templates directly here in your Teams. Open it in your, and then we can see how such a Docs42 template looks like, that it can be adjusted easily by every business user and updated. And I will show that to you. I'm just quickly logging in. So just an online, great. And what we have here now is our document, but instead of the data, we have a lot of blue data fields, and those are the Docs42 data fields. So these are our placeholders, so to say. And if I double click on one on the right hand side, the Docs42 data field explorer opens, and I can see exactly where my data comes from. So this comes from a Dynamics CE data source. It's called organizations, and it's the data field name. Also, if I click on here, we can see this also comes from organizations. It's a data field name. And if I click on this one, for example, I can see this comes from a SharePoint data source, and it's inserted as a type Word document. So this was our Word document. Before I explain you some more, let me just quickly generate it locally. So Docs42, the edits, they allow you to design your templates, and you can also always test your templates and generate your documents locally. So here in my command bar, I clicked on Generate Documents. Now it asks me which document I want to generate. I say again, I again want to generate the solar panels deluxe, and now I will get the document returned in Microsoft Word with all the information which we've seen, also in the PDF documents which we've generated. And so it's always pulling the live data from Dynamics and also from SharePoint or any other data source which you have added. Good. So if we go and view side by side, we can just gonna close this one here. We can see what has happened. So for example, here the name field, it turned into Adventure Co. Here this field turned into the Word document. We have expanding tables with repeated sections. We also have some conditions in here. For example, here in the template, you can see that there's a line for freight, but in the generated documents, we don't have that line, because in our condition, which we can access from here, automate range, we can see this line should only be inserted if the freight amount is not empty. Apparently it was empty in our system, so it was not added. And scrolling down further, we can also see that here a Word document, this one was added, and up here a PowerPoint presentation. So you can see you have a lot of powerful possibilities on how to and how to set up your templates and how to make a really compelling document that adds value. If I changed something here, I would just need to close the document. It's updating automatically. And then if you regenerate documents from your Power Automate, from your flow or with Docs42 Online, you will always have the latest version of your document ready. Good. So much about the collaborating on the template design. Now let's know actually how our flow setup worked. So let's go into our flow overview. And here we have our Docs42 flows. We have a few ones here. The one that's relevant for our scenario and example today is the sales quote to SharePoint. I'm going to open that one. And here we can see our flow setup. So we have a Docs42 custom connector. We've set that up once. It's very easy and straightforward to set that up. If you want some further information on how to do that, we have a documentation, and of course, I'm always happy to send you information on that. So we have that connection, also the Dynamics connection. We can see our runs. We can see perfect 6 minutes ago. That's when I updated my flow, that it succeeded, that everything worked the way I wanted it to. And then if I clicked on edit, we can look at the further details of how that's set up. So here we said when a quote is modified. So we have our organization and the entity. So we are working on the quotes entity. Then call Docs42 to regenerate the quote document PDF and store it to SharePoint. We saw that that worked. And let's have a look on how that setup looks like. So if you've worked with Docs42 before, this is very familiar to you. This is how you would configure calls with Docs42. We have an operation, generate document. We could also, so this is generating Word documents. You could also, of course, generate spreadsheets and also PowerPoints with Docs42 and with the Power Automate. Here you would tell Docs42 where the document template is stored. We can see this is in SharePoint Online. And then for the dynamic parameters, Power Automate and Flow allows us to be very flexible here as well. So here we decide, okay, that according to the quote ID, Docs42 knows which quote to generate. Here we give our SharePoint site where it should be stored. And here with the variables, we can name our documents with parameters which we give from Flow, and also we can add metadata automatically. So let's have a look. We set to the field quote ID. The field quote ID should be added, and also we have the name and the quote ID in our document name. Let's have a look back in our SharePoint. And we can see that this one was generated with the flow. Here we have the name and the ID, so our flow parameters, and also here the quote ID was added dynamically. So much about the flow, how setup is done, very straightforward and easy, and this allows you to automatically generate documents that add value from Power Automate, from Microsoft Flow, and integrating data from various systems. Good. We're looking good with time. Switching back to my PowerPoint presentation. That was the live demo showing you that you can use Docs42 in various scenarios and with Power Automate. And now our next section is the question and answer section. So please type in your questions in the chat panel and we will answer them. So let's see if there's already one in there. There's a question. So in Power Automate, we're using a custom connector. Is there also another way on how to call Docs42 from Power Automate?
Yeah, sure. At the moment, not. The thing is that this custom connector also does Azure Active Directory security. So it creates an access token to pass to Docs42 because we use Docs42 Online. So it impersonates and uses Azure Active Directory for security and login reasons, and that's done via this custom connector.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Then I have a further question. Someone is asking, do I need to have and use Dynamics customer engagement? I can answer that one. So for using Docs42 and also in combination with Power Automate or with other systems, you don't necessarily need to use Dynamics. This was just an example today. You could also have maybe just full SharePoint scenarios. You could also integrate data and work with finance and operations. You could work even with SAP. You could work with other tools. So it's very up to you on which systems you're using. It's a very flexible tool. Good. And then maybe conscious of time, there's one last question. So Christian, maybe for you, does it have to be a full cloud scenario?
Okay, no, not necessarily. I mean, Docs42 runs on-prem as well, and we have a lot of customers who run Docs42 and their applications on premises. It's totally fine. But what we have shown here, Lisa had shown here, is a full cloud scenario. So it's really up to you if you want to run your software in the cloud or on-prem. Both works. One thing that might be interesting. Docs42 templates are basically completely independent if you run your SharePoint or your Dynamics in the cloud or on-prem. So as soon as you've set up your templates and your data connections, and you later on want to switch in a cloud scenario, as long as the structure of your SharePoint lists and Dynamics entities and so on stays the same, you basically could use the same templates and the same data connections. You just need to change the connection credentials or switch to Azure Active Directory impersonation, but that's all you have to do. So you can keep all the work you have put into your designing your templates if you change from on-prem to the cloud, or vice versa, who knows.
Great, thank you, Christian. Good, so we have 1 more minute left. Very good with timing. Before we close today, just 2 more announcements. So next week there's the ESPC in Prague. We will be there. We hope to meet you there. We're very proud and happy that we are finalists. We are nominated for the most innovative SharePoint solution. So keep your fingers crossed for us. Next week at ESPC, we're at booth number 13, and we would be happy to meet you there. And one other final announcement. So in case you are using Business Central, we're having a further webinar. This will take place on December 11th. It's called Powerful Document Automation for Microsoft Business Central. And my colleagues Fabian and Johannes will guide you through the scenario of how document generation, how Docs42 can be used in a Business Central scenario. You can use this QR code for registering, or you can also find some further information on our website. That was it for today. Thank you very much. Thank you for your questions, for being here, for taking time. If you need further information, visit our website, send us a message, and request your free trial, and happy to discuss your scenarios with you. Thank you. Goodbye.